So, here we are. The Secret Lore of the Shamans, Chapter 1. First of all, the Lakota don't like the word shaman. They don't like to be called a shaman. The Lakota language doesn't have the word shaman in it. The word shaman that we use comes from the Tibetan, or not the Tibetan, the Siberian shamans, from the Evenk. That is the word in their language that designates people that do shamanistic practices, what we've come to call shamanistic practices. The anthropologists / scientists of a couple hundred years ago took their knowledge of the Siberians, and when they ran across those kinds of practices elsewhere in the entire world, they called them shaman or shamanistic. So it's just become a term that describes a kind of activity or a kind of discipline, a practice. The Lakotas don't like to be called shaman. They have their own word for it. It's called wapiye. Wapiye man, a wapiye man is one who's been made over or transformed. It's like the alchemical transformation of the West. It's the metaphor is of a cocoon, of a caterpillar in a cocoon, and they come out of the cocoon and they're metamorphized into a beautiful butterfly. It's the same concept, same notion. So the Wopier men. There are different kinds of Wopiers. The top echelon is what are called the Wachasha Wakan. Wakan means mysterious or mystery, and therefore it's sacred. It's sacred because it's so mysterious. So a Wakasha is a human being or a man. So Wakasha Wakan is a mysterious, sacred man. They call him a holy man. That's what a Lakota shaman is. I'm going to continue to use the term shaman, even though it is controversial in social justice warrior ranks presently. All of the literature uses the term, and since it's being used in the literature, and it's even being used by anthropologists writing on these topics currently. So I'm going to continue to use the word. So this little thing that we're chatting about here is called the Secret Lore of the Shamans, the Lakota Shamans. The secret lore was taught to the initiates, those who aspired to be a Lakota shaman or those who had been chosen to be one. The initiation to be a shaman was the Sundance. Now, not everybody that dances in the Sundance is aspiring to be a shaman, but some are, and the ones that are have extra expectations and extra teachings. The secret teachings to them include a lot of the secret language of the shamans. And the Lakota words used for the secret stuff are common words that the average Lakota would have known, but they have a secret esoteric meaning. That's pretty similar to what we're used to with the Western tradition as well. So when the candidate to dance in the Sundance to become a shaman, when that candidate expresses his desire, Then he has a bunch of things that he has to do. He has to get a sponsor. He has to come up with a bunch of practical offerings. This is a couple hundred years ago we're talking about, according to people who were, according to elders that were interviewed around the turn of the 20th century. And so the special instructions to the shamans included the old Lakota philosophy, or the old Lakota cosmology, which includes an explanation of terms like Wakan, and terms like Dawa, Niga, and the Wanila, and above all, Wakan Tanka. Tanka means great or big. Wakan, as we said, means mystery. So Wakan Tanka literally means the great mystery. And it is an all-encompassing one that is unity. It transcends duality. So it includes everything below it, everything around us, everything that makes up our reality is Wakan Tanka. And everything that is in it is related to each other, which is the concept of Mitaku Yesen, which means we are all related. But so Wakan Tanka is this oneness, this mysterious oneness, but it's not a god per se. It's not equivalent to the Christian God. It's not an anthropomorphized God. There's not some old guy sitting in a cloud on a throne with long flowing white hair and a beard. That's not what Wakan Tanka is. But Wakan Tanka is made up of 16 benevolent spirits. They are called the Taku Tob Tob, which is translated as the 4-4, or the 4x4. Now, the Lakota have a special affinity for the number 4, and here we see it expressed in their god pantheon, if you will, the Lakota pantheon. The 16 spirits that make up Wakan Tanka are divided into 4 groups of 4 each. And the highest one are the superior gods, the 4 superior gods. And the highest of them all, the chief of the gods, is W-I, and that is the sun. And the number 2 is called Shkan, and Shkan is the sky. It means literally movement. There are a few other words that apply to Shkan, or Taku Shkan, but they tend to mean, they tend to translate as the Great Spirit, or Grandfather Sky. We often use the word Tankashala, which is a Lakota word for grandfather, when we pray. When we're praying to Tankashala, this is who we're praying to. We're praying to Taku Shkan, the number 2 in the listing of the 16 spirits of Wakan Tanka. The 3rd is Maka, the earth. That's a feminine spirit, the All-Mother. We call her Unchi Maka, grandmother, earth. The 4th one is Inyang, the rock. That's male energy, and they call it the All-Father. So the second group of 4 begins with Honghui, which is the moon, and then the second one is Tate, which is the wind, and the wind is the father of the 4 winds. We'll get to that in a minute. and the third is Wope, the divine feminine. We'll talk a little bit more about her. And the fourth one in the second group is Wakan. Wakan is the winged god, the thunder beings. And each one of these in the second group of four is a consort related to the gods that are in the first four. So now we have four couples, and they equal the first 8. Wi is the consort of the sun. Tate is the consort of Takushkanshkan, and Wope is the consort of Uchimaka, and the Wakion, the thunder beings, are the consort of Inyan, the rock. So that's our first 8 out of the 16. The third group of 4 begins with Tatanka, the buffalo spirit. This is important because the buffalo spirit is elevated because they were so dependent on it for life. Everything that they had, they got from the buffalo. So he has his own spirit as part of the pantheon. The second one is Hunampa. That is the bear spirit. The bear spirit's important because the shamans received their knowledge from the bear, or so the lore goes. And the bear provides healing even till today by passing down its knowledge to bear dreamers, or people that belong to the Bear Society, which are the healers. The third one in that group is Tate Tob. And you remember, Tate Tob is the 4 winds. They're the 4 sons of Tate, the wind. And each one of those 4 winds is assigned to a direction on the medicine wheel, the Changleshka. And there is a 4th one in that third group called Yumni, the whirlwind. Yumni is the 5th son of Tate, the wind. He's not assigned to a direction. He moves around at will, tends to hang out in the south, though. So that's the first 12 of the 16 Wakan Tankas. The last 4 are important because they're the 4 parts of the soul. Now, the parts of the soul are given to all persons when they are born by Takushkanshka. He reaches up in the sky and takes a star and gives that to the person when they're born. Now, a person can be either a human being or a non-human being. It doesn't have to be a human being to be a person. So everything has a soul, and the soul has these spirit parts to it. The first one is the Nia. The Nia is called the spirit. It is the animating spirit. It is called the breath of life. It's what gives you motion. What gives you life. That's what's given to you by Takushkanshkan when you're born. The second one is the Nagi. The Nagi is similar to the Nia, but it's called the ghost, and it has more different attributes to it. It has more to do with your personality and your character and your appearance. After you die, these things go back to the source, back to the sky on the spirit trail, which is the Milky Way. And along the way, there's a woman entity who tests you, and if you don't pass the test, you don't get to go home. And so your Nahi spirit returns back to Earth and is doomed to wander the Earth. That Nagi is then called a Wanagi. So the Wanagis are the wandering ghost spirits. The third one of those 4 is called the Nagila. It's called the spirit like. It's hard to describe that one. The 4th one is called the Shichun. And the Shichun is very important to the workings of a Lakota shaman. The sea tune is given to every person when they're born, and that person will carry that sea tune with them until they die, and then it will return. But everything else has a sea tune too. The eagle has a sea tune. The buffalo has a sea tune. The energy of those spirits can be passed to you in fetishes. Like if you are gifted with an eagle feather, which is an important ceremony for the Lakotas. They honor people for things by gifting them with an eagle ceremonially. When you do that, you're getting eagle, quote, medicine, unquote. Eagle medicine is the eagle's sea tune. That's really what they mean by medicine in that context. The word medicine has been kind of, it's a misnomer. They talk about a medicine bag, and there's a difference between a holy man who works with power and energy and a medicine man who heals with plants. The medicine man is really a Pajuta Wakan, which is or a Pajuta Wachasha. A Pajuta Wachasha is literally a plant person, plant man. So the four spirits, or four parts of the soul, are a hard concept to try to understand, and probably the hardest part. I'm still working on it, actually. But the Sichun, the last one, it's called the least of the 16. But it is very, very important, because all of these spirits, these high spirits, these gods of the pantheon, can pass their helping energies to you. And when they do that, that's called Sichun. And to you, I mean, for the shaman, the Lakota shamans. Lakota shamans can be passed power or Sichun from an entity in dreams. They can have it passed to them in the Homblatia, which is called the Vision Quest, or another shaman can give you his medicine, and his medicine is a Sichun. The word for the bag or the bundle that these fetishes are kept in is called a wasishun. And so the medicine bundle is called a wasichun, with the word sichun in it. Now, an interesting sidebar right here is that most people that are following these ways are aware that the Lakotas have a somewhat disparaging word for white people, and that's called the wasichu. And the lore goes that the wasichu literally means he who keeps the fat, or he's a greedy person. That is actually a much later meaning for that word, and it seems to be a folk word. The original meaning of wasichun is the medicine bundle, or a medicine thing of power with sichun in it. And it is for that reason that a few of us believe that the word wasichu originally came from that. When we speculate that when the Lakotas bumped into the first white men, a couple hundred years ago, they might have been impressed with the personal power that these people had, because they had gunpowder and iron and technology that the Lakotas didn't have. So they would have been magical beings. and therefore a Wasichun. So, an interesting thing about those first four high spirits, the high gods, is that the first one to be formed by Wakan Tanka in the original creation myth, which is very similar to the Genesis myth. Wakan Tanka takes a piece of himself, and that becomes the rock, this huge rock, picture, if you will, floating through space. That's Inyan, the rock man, rock nation, called the Inyan Oyate. The second one to be formed would have been the earth that covered the rock. That's Unchi Maka, grandmother earth. And after that is grandfather sky, envelops the whole thing. You have the blue sky above the earth and the rock, the stone. And then the fourth and last thing is the sun. But the sun, even though he's the last of those four to arrive, he's the high god. He's the chief god, and he's the one that the Sundance is directed to for his blessings, and for prayer and for sacrifice. So that's that's chapter 1 of the Secret Lore of the Lakota, and we'll move on with chapter 2 shortly.